Welcome everyone, welcome in Let's Talk AI. Today I'm super happy and very honored to be with Ravit Jain. Ravit, for everyone who might not know you yet, I would like to do myself an introduction, but maybe could you do your own introduction, explain in a few sentences who you are, what you do?
Yeah, for sure. First of all, Thomas, thanks for having me on the Let's Talk AI podcast. Love the work that you're doing. A little about myself. I've been the host and founder of the Ravit Show since last few years now. I've interviewed more than 100 plus leaders on my podcast, but not only just that. I also work as a head community evangelist at AtScale. I do a lot for the data science and AI community. Our agenda has always been my agenda has always been to go out there and help the data science community as much as I can. uh, I love to do those live sessions where we can bring the right insights for our audience, and that's when you always hear that if it's your passion, it's not your work anymore, and that's how I hustle, to be
Mm,
honest.
mm.
But love to help our community, and my motto from day one has been growing together. So yeah, that's a little about me. I'm a community person. I love to talk in more like a people's person. And yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And to the one who are listening, we're on a Sunday morning, pretty early. So thanks, Ravit, for showing up. And I'm super happy. I hope everything's going well on this Sunday morning for you.
Oh yes, anytime. Sundays are, much more peaceful for me in terms of, coming on a podcast, talking, because you are in that free mind space where you
Yeah.
can chat about various things, and
Yeah.
let's go out and share our thoughts. I'm super excited to share my thoughts with your community. So thanks for having
Yeah.
me again. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm super happy, and I have a lot of interesting things to ask you about.
Yeah.
Maybe just to I always like to ask at the beginning, like kind of the scope of where are you at today and what you're trying to achieve. So you have the Ravit Show, you work at scale. What are you trying to achieve today? What are your goals?
So, there are many goals. When we talk about
Yeah.
goals, every day when I wake up in the morning, I feel that I should be doing these 10 things together to not just help myself and, achieve that in my career, but at the same time also help the community that I kind of feel responsible for. So, I always have that's my starting to the day, to be honest. And my main focus always has been building a data community, and I've been doing that since now years. Or it's when you start with that, it's a little hard, but when you get into it, it's a toxic responsibility, to be honest. And a few objectives that I have is, obviously, like I mentioned, build and foster a data community, because you can do many things out there. You can work with a lot of users, advocates, ambassadors around a particular topic, product, service, brand, and all together. So that kind of brings a lot of interest for the data community, data science and AI community. This also
Mm,
involves a lot of users, and a lot of content creation that goes behind it, hosting a lot of events, building those relationship with key stakeholders. I think those are key to building and fostering a data community. But not only just that, obviously, when I go out and want to do something more for the community, it's more about creating that brand awareness for myself and for my brand as well. And if I'm working for AtScale, obviously for semantic layer and the product that we have. So basically, to raise that awareness of the product, service, brand within the community and beyond is super helpful. And this
mm,
also involves creating buzz and excitement, generating press coverage,
mm,
promoting the brand, and doing this through various channels. The other huge objective is always
Mm-hmm.
when you talk about building and fostering a community or increasing brand awareness, you should also be very much aware about driving the user engagement. What happens there is when you're talking about a product, service, brand in meaningful ways, this involves a lot of like I mentioned, creating content, and
Yeah.
that content should actually resonate very well with your users, and it should also help foster those types of conversation, and you should be open to soliciting feedback, so that helps, like where you have the drive, the user engagement also aligning with what your goals are. Then it's more on the lines when when you have these things, you should also be very much supporting your community in having that user support. So that is where you're bridging the gap between the data community and the work that you're doing, and I'm constantly wanting to do that to make sure that I don't miss out
Yeah.
on the important aspects that the community is looking for. So I
Mm.
always do that. Overall, the goal is to create a passion engaged community that helps to promote and grow and learn with each other. But the aim is to establish the company as a thought leader and build a loyal user base that can drive future growth for the data community, and for the users who are diligently investing that time in the Ravit Show, at scale, and the other places where I am at, even if it's this podcast where I'm talking. I want your users to, if they're investing 45 minutes, 1 hour, they should go back with something which is relevant in their work, in their day-to-day job, and that's how I will achieve
Mm.
something which I wake up to. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I know that's a long answer to your short question, Thomas, but yeah.
Oh, but that was necessary, and for the people who doesn't know you yet, in the data communities, they should really look into what you do because you always share so much content and values and live connections with top data strategists, data leaders, AI leaders, and your works inspires a lot of people, and I'm super grateful to have you on the show. And I have some very good questions for the people who are listening, that we will be able to get a lot of great value from it.
Nice.
Maybe just before we start getting to ask you further questions, could you do a little throwback through your career and how you came to this point where you're at scale and you have the Ravit Show and you talk to all those very interesting people in the data field, in the AI field, and
Right.
those leaders?
Yeah. So to start back, obviously, I do not come from a data science and engineering background. I am a guy who started my career. I was always intrigued about the finance field, those numbers, those
Mm,
profit and loss sheets, and
mm-hmm,
those balance sheets. So I always wanted to do something in finance, and that's when during my graduation days, I kind of went and took an MBA degree. After my graduation, obviously, I did my MBA in finance, and then afterwards, I was kind of more intrigued about there's so much to learn in finance, but investment banking was something which I was kind of more intrigued about because there's so much money in there, and how these investment bankers kind of handle it at a level which is valuation, or talk about the due diligence, auditing, and all those things. I was kind of super intrigued, and I felt that okay, I want to take my after MBA, I should go out and do my investment banking as an executive MBA from IIM Indore in India. So I did that, and suddenly what I started, after getting done with that, I started realizing that okay, there's something which is very important, which is numbers, but at the same time there's something which is again super interesting, that is data, that kind of plays a very important role in finance as well. And I early in the stage itself, I kind of realized that okay, now data also plays a very important role everywhere. So why not do something where I can be related to data? And I started my, first, I guess it was my first job or second job, actually second full-time job, where I started working at a market research company which is based out of Pune in India. What I was basically doing is collecting quantitative data, qualitative data, primary data, secondary data, and making sure that we are putting that into a market research report and creating those forecasts for different users and different I would say industries. It could be a healthcare industry, it could be a chemical industry, it could be an IT industry, and we used to get particular topics. It could be a pen as well. Like if someone asks me to through the primary and secondary data, extracting that, if I can get a forecast of next 10 years, I could easily do it with the market engineering sheet. And that's how I got more into the data. uh, Cut to few years later, I got an opportunity to work with a publishing company which was Pact Publishing, and I was
Mm-hmm.
closely I was doing various roles there, but I was closely working with the authors to make sure
Mm.
that I could amplify their books that they were writing for the data science and AI community at a global level. And I could get into those small pockets of communities and say, okay, this is the book that this author has come up with, but this will help you in your career in these ways. I was obviously bridging the gap between the community and Pact Publishing, but at the same time, what I was kind of also understanding is what was the gap and how much education is required in that space. I realized that as well after a few years working with Pact, and then I kind of thought about why not do something more for the community where we can have these leaders and have these top notch creators on the Ravit Show, where they can come and talk about various things that they are doing in the tech
Yeah.
space, in the data
Mm-hmm.
space, in the AI space, and also make the audience come closer to them through these live sessions. Not like every day a community person gets an opportunity to ask a unicorn company CEO question on a live session. So
Mm.
I wanted to create that platform through the Ravit Show, and I did it. I don't say, oh, it's a successful show, because there's a long way to go. But I really love how the community has accepted it. They look forward to it, they learn from it. I've got an interesting feedback, and this wouldn't have been possible without the community, without the thought leaders. But it has been an amazing journey. And now obviously I also work with Pack Publishing, which is they are into semantic layer. I work I look after their social media. We produce a podcast there as well, which is the Data Driven Podcast, hosted by our CEO Dave Mariani. We host a lot of leaders there as well to make sure that we're not talking about AtScale particularly there, but we are talking about interesting topics
Mm-hmm.
with interesting thought leaders, to make sure where they can come closer to the community, and
Yeah.
on a generic basis they can learn a lot, so it can be an educational platform for them. But yeah, in a nutshell, that's about me, about my background, Thomas.
Awesome. No, that's super interesting, and the this sharing, this driving through time, where, because myself I was into investment banking at the beginning, and I
Oh
have
wow.
a background in finance, a major in finance, and then I went for a master in big data, and I took the
Oh
data
wow.
way. And so I related to the beginning, and I totally understand. And yeah, as I was saying before, the values that you are able to add is pretty impressive. But now, if I think about what you've done, and we've had a kind of an overview of what happened through the years and how you've came up with a few of the things you mentioned, and the live shows with the
Yeah.
leaders. I was wondering what strategies. I want to talk about strategies, and what strategies do you use to build and support the data science and AI communities, whether it is with AtScale or with the Ravit Show? Like, do you have some insights for us regarding that?
Yeah, for sure. I would love to share the secret sauce where people can learn more about, how to build a data community, how to, foster the community, how to keep them engaged. So there are a few things, and I don't want to overwhelm our audience with a lot of points, but I'll keep it very simple for them. The basic things that they can go out and, do to support and build a data community, starting from something which is create valuable content, which is very important, that addresses the needs of data science and AI professional. This could include, the blog posts, webinars, videos, podcast, and also other forms of the content that provide insights, tips, and best practices. So this will, actually, with your content, you can bring the community closer to something what you want them to grow in. So it's, when I always tell this to everyone, do not think building a community is two-way streak at the beginning. But once you kind of start putting out valuable content, once you kind of start understanding what the community needs, and that's where you can, you kind of uh, you have to do that due diligence, and you have to do that research where you find that gap, what the community is looking to learn. And once you do that, you're closer to the community, and you're creating the content on those lines. So and through these various platforms and through these various forms of, content that you can go out with. So creating valuable content is super important. Second interesting thing that I feel is host events. It is a great way to build and support communities because it's very authentic. Like, Thomas, you and me are just having a conversation right now. I
Yeah.
don't think we both can, fake around, because it's so, it's so candid, it's so, we're sharing our experiences, how we've done. And not everyone would be able to relate because everyone has a different path, but a lot of pieces that people can take away from these types of conversations to get them to the next level always helps.
Hmm.
So host events, which is, always to build and support communities, and this could also include like online meetups, webinars, go to conferences, do workshops. I think people can meet and connect there, learn, and also share a lot of knowledge. The third thing that I feel is, is very important as well, which is facilitate conversation. We use social media daily, and those platforms also use online forums to facilitate, conversations around data science and AI topics. So, they can start discussions around asking questions, and encourage them, and the others in the community as well, to share their thoughts, experiences on Slack, website, and other places. So I think facilitating conversations is also very important, because you never know what type of doors of opportunities you're opening for the community, and when you're kind of creating a conversation around it. So that's very helpful. uh, another huge, another strategy I would say that I feel is recognize and rewarding your contributors. That kind of helps very well, because you make them feel valuable about the contributions that they are doing to the community. This could actually include featuring them on the company's blog or social media channels, offering them maybe incentives, or even inviting them to speak at events, because that kind of brings them to closer to the community, and they kind of feel that, okay, for the things that I'm doing for the community, I'm getting that spotlight, that recognition, those rewards. So that always helps. One more, the fifth point that I have in mind is about providing support, and also the resources that they might need. So to help community members overcome challenges, achieve, to achieve their goals, this could include access to tools, tutorials, other resources that can help them to grow their, skills and advance their careers. These are very important. So by implementing these strategies, we can build and, support data science and AI communities that are engaged, passionate, and always thriving. So it always these strategies always help, at least for me, and I'm sure a lot of community builders, or the community managers, the head community evangelists out there,
Mm-hmm.
they do follow a lot of these to make sure they are building a very valuable community that they can rely on and they can go back to, and they feel motivated to do something for the community always. So yeah, these are a few strategies that I basically go out and help our at scale community with, and the Ravit Show community with as well.
Mm, that's super interesting, and because you've had the opportunity to meet so many people yet, and many more to come. So I want to ask you about some insight that you got from this, but maybe just before, I would like to have your point of view, sharing the audience who's listening. What is the importance of building a personal brand on LinkedIn, for example? How
Yeah.
do you value it? Is it necessary? Like, how much value can it add to someone careers? Like, what is, if you had to give like some advice about like someone who is listening, who is thinking about like not necessarily building the biggest community, but like starting sharing on LinkedIn, doing some posts, adding some value? What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think a good question there, Thomas. I think building a LinkedIn community is very important, because what happens is you're going on a forum which has like millions of users, but at the same time, when obviously are focusing on the data community, it's huge as well,
Mm-hmm.
and everyone has a different perspective altogether. But at the same time, when you kind of start sharing something with your community that you spend years in, or even if you're just starting out, it could help a lot of folks out there. Like if just for an example, if you are a data analyst and you've just got a job after being in this space for, like, obviously being a student and learning about data since a while, and you kind of go out and start sharing your experiences, and these could be like simple 10 tips that I would give anyone who's out there interviewing for data analyst roles. And if you do it, and trust me, even if there are aspirants who are looking at it, just a very small number of, say, 200 people looking at your post, and out of the 200 people, I say 10% of them, which is 20 people, actually find, say, two or three questions that are kind of relevant from those 10 tips that you've shared, and they applied in their interviews. Out of the 2 3 people that have applied, or the 20 people, uh, say one person kind of cracks that interview. That is where what value you have provided. Just by writing a post about what your experience is, you have already created your brand, because you've got someone a job. So understand that if you are posting on LinkedIn, say 365 days, okay, I know it's difficult to go out and put out content the whole 365, like throughout the year. Say if you're doing it 200 days in a year. No, but somewhere practical, somewhere you can do that. At least I feel it's not a huge job, and this could be, you can keep the mix. It doesn't have to be just about you. It can be about, like, if you go and look at my feed, it's about everything. I don't
Mm,
limit it to just what I'm doing, or what the Ravit Show is achieving, or what my business is doing, or what AtScale is doing. We talk about each and everything which will help the community, and
mm,
obviously also leverage that community where we can help them with the updates that we have through my company, through AtScale, what we are doing, and which is fair enough for the community as well, because they want to also know, they have that personal touch with Ravit Jain, because somewhere maybe, in a blue moon, I might have helped a few the folks to with my content to get a job.
mm-hmm.
So they have trusted me, and they would also love to know how am I progressing, and what am I doing in this space. So always putting out content on LinkedIn is important. Creating a brand is super important, and it will help you in a longer run to open up opportunities for yourself. It will help you build your career, your network. It's a very cliche, sentence that we hear very often, which is, your network is your net worth. And I believe it in 110%, because with your network you can do wonders. You can come out and build a company. You can go out, do interesting projects. You can make interesting communities. So why not start today? People usually sit back and kind of feel hesitant about creating content on LinkedIn, because they kind of feel that, oh, what should we talk about? I work in a job. I do simple things which many others do as well. So why should I share about it? I think, on LinkedIn, there's only 1% of the total users that kind of create content. So you need to understand those stats as well, where if you want to be, a content creator, you should go out there, you should try your thing, you should share your experiences. But most important, be authentic, be valuable to your, provide that value to your audience. And you'll definitely go a long way in your journey. So yeah, I think a personal brand is super important. Creating content on LinkedIn is very important. And you can, do various things in your career. You can build a community, you can meet a lot of people, you can have a good set of network for yourself. And also you can make friends. So be happy about that. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, yeah, I totally relate to everything, and and so those are some very valuable insights. Um, I would like to ask you about the Ravit Show now a
Yeah.
little bit. You've met great leaders in data science and AI. So who have been some of the most interesting persons you've talked to, and would you have some key tips, lessons that you got from, because I myself like to try to talk to as many people as I can in the field,
Right.
and I feel like there is so much value behind this, and this is why, like, let's talk AI. We want to have a 360 vision of the AI field, but I feel like I'm progressing so much just by listening and sitting with people like yourself. And you've done it for way longer than I did. Yeah, could you share maybe some names and some value lessons that you've learned through time with sharing with those leaders?
Wow, that's a difficult question, to be honest,
I know.
Thomas. Very difficult question to pick names, but I'll
Maybe
try
not
my
saying
best.
names. Maybe not saying names, because
No,
saying
I
names.
can.
I just wanted to, maybe
No,
we can get
no,
some names.
no favoritism there. Where I can pick a few names. Like I've had Bill Inman on my show, where we discussed about the evolution of data warehousing. He's the father of data warehouse. He talks a lot about data warehousing, about data, the new and trending things. He's also, good news is he's also writing. I'm coming up with a data observability book, and this is the first time I'm mentioning about it on a podcast. But
Oh,
he's writing a forward there, so he was pretty interesting when he got on the podcast, and he has had like years of experience in the data field. So you always kind of learn a lot from these types of folks. I've also had like Thomas Bean, who's the CMO of Data Stack. So he recently came on the Ravit Show. He discussed so much about the data science trends that about the data science trends in 2023 and in the future as well. So pretty interesting and pretty straightforward folks. And to be honest, even with the Ravit Show, when I started it, and all the guests who come on the Ravit Show, they always have such interesting insights, because even if they come from a particular company, they'll never want to come and sell anything. And that's like the most important thing, right? Because if you are on a podcast or a live show, and if you're not selling anything, people want to hear you more and more and about what you think about that space. And these people have always done that. And that helps me to learn so much and be ahead, in time to understand that these could be some of the interesting aspects in the data science and AI
Mm,
field that I
mm,
can look forward to. I also had, the CEO of I Met It, Radha Basu. I also met her in person just a few weeks back. She was in India. She lives in US, but she was in India for an event. And I also interviewed her after the event, and because she was on a panel discussion on that event. But after that, I wanted to have like a follow-up interview, and I asked her about various things about generative AI, chat GPT, future of AI, and much more. And the episode is still yet to be released. Next week it might come out. But she, visionaries like these who are actually also working with a lot of clients, like with iMerit, they're working with tons of clients in the AI
mm-hmm,
space, but
mm-hmm.
they have certain vision that can help you learn more and your audience as well. So those are very important people. Just 2 or 3 weeks back, I had Veronica Durgan from she's the head of data at Saks. Pretty interesting insights that she shared. We had the theme of the show was okay, let me get it right. It was today's legacy is tomorrow's something. Okay, I've messed the theme, but it was pretty interesting theme that she spoke about. And I want to have such type of enterprise leaders on the
Mm-hmm.
show or to discuss and make my community uh, basically have my community learn more, and that the time that they are investing in, that should be very much fruitful. That's what I think out of the interviews that I do. And to be honest, all the folks that I've interviewed till date all had such amazing insights about data science, AI, and they have always been so kind, to go out there and answer and take questions from the community. Like I mentioned, not every day, you might see, CEOs or CTOs answering questions,
Yeah.
but this is where the community also gets that opportunity that okay, we want to learn more about uh, you know the data science and AI from the
Mm,
leaders, and we can ask questions and all of those things as well. So yeah, that's I think all about it. But I talking about this, I got the title that Veronica
yes.
Veronica came on the show and spoke was about I just want to get this right. But I have the fear of missing out things, and that's why it was today is tomorrow's legacy that she spoke about, and pretty interesting insights that she shared. But yeah, that's about a little for little about the folks that have been on my show and the leaders. Very kind. So yeah,
Mm.
can't complain.
Mm, that's super interesting, and that is hard for me to ask you. That is rude for me to ask you for names and
No
listens, but
worries.
because this is so much content. But I feel like it gives a perspective on how crazy the learning can be just by hearing the right people, and you mentioned it. Like every people will have kind of a quite like some common things will be like, okay, this is like that, and this won't change, but
Yeah.
the perspective we can have on it, there are so many perspective, and maybe leaders will have like different perspective on things because we're all different. And I feel like being able to hear from all those leaders are so valuable, and further on to take like on like your own decisions, to think about like a more ethical project, like the benefit of like how can I make this project benefits more people. Well, having this guidance from those people who already thought about those things and sharing you fast tracks of doing things, it really enhances the value of building things and adding value. And I think this episode is all about how do you add value to yourself, to others, to the world. Yeah, big goals. That's awesome. So, okay, thanks for sharing. And related to this, how do you stay up to date with the latest news, latest technologies, latest trends? How do you keep up with because this is a field that is growing so fast. I saw a post of Vin Vashista the other day, and
Yeah.
he was totally right. Like in 12 months are enough for you to just be outdated in technologies or anything. So how do you stay up to date with everything?
Very true, and this is so hard, right? Because we we are on multiple platforms, we hear multiple people, we want to stay up to date and catch all the news as soon as possible. When ChatGPT came in, there was a flood of news about ChatGPT, about how generative AI is, has progressed in so many different thoughts, right? But and how do you consume just, and you have to stay up to date with others as well. So
Yeah.
for me, a lot of resources that I kind of stay up to date is through attending conferences, because I get to meet the real people and get those real insights. I do meetups. And these meetups are very small meetups on for my community. But now, since everything has opened up, we are planning to do meetups in person at various places. We also did a meetup in December last year at two of the Google offices in India. Pretty interesting. We had Sanjeev Mohan, Mona Rakibe from the US fly in, and we brought all the enterprise leaders under one roof to discuss about various topics. And those types of meetups always also help you to stay up to date, because you're bringing in those folks who are working in this space or who are using different types of tools and technologies, and they can bring you the right insights about the problems that they are facing in day in and out, and how are those problems getting solved through the tools and technologies is
Wow.
super important. And
Yeah.
these types of meetups always help you. So doing those types of things always help. I also have some of the top notch publications, and that I kind of follow, and also have also do a lot of interaction with creators, like you spoke about Win Washist. He's a great friend. I speak to a lot of other folks as well who are creators in this space. Talk about Carly Taylor, talk about Jez, or talk about Kate Strachny, Scott Taylor, Suzanne George. All of these people, these creators are amazing to go out and interact with, and learn about what's new and what's happening, because
Mm.
they talk to a lot of people as well. So all the creator community also helps you a lot to stay updated, and they share a lot on their uh, a lot on their profiles as well, on LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, everywhere. So I kind of follow a few folks that I can stay up to date, but
Mm-hmm.
still very hard to stay, that I can say, oh, I'm up to date with everything. That can never happen. One thing that I also mention to folks is not to forget the books. You can learn a lot. You can upscale from there. You can learn about a lot of developments. I understand sometimes it's the books kind of come out, gets published late. Like if you're talking about Chat GPT, a book might come out which might be super relevant after, say, 8 months, 9 months. It could be a year, and that would be a bestseller book. But obviously, it came out after a year since the technology came in, so you're not staying up to date. It can happen that there might be many more, such as Chat GPT, throughout the year, and we're already
Yeah.
seeing that those types of things coming out. So but books are evergreen. You should always go back to books as well, and
Mm.
keep yourself updated with the tools and technologies, I feel.
Hmm. Awesome. And I feel like the key of the books are that I mean I'm talking about the books that doesn't talk about one specific technology but about the fundamentals. And I hear that a lot on the podcast, asking like leaders in the field in data science, and that like fundamentals won't change. And like today, like the data science, how it is, like
Yeah.
generative AI, for example, the models the models haven't changed, like
No.
how the model have been trained and all of that. So there is already so many things. So I feel like, yeah, one key things around that is, like, there is a technology, but there is the fundamentals behind, and the technology can evolve, but the fundamentals will evolve at a slower pace, let's say.
Right.
Oh yeah. So so yeah, super interesting things, and books are a very, yeah, books are, I think, the most valuable things are in the books also.
Yeah.
And attending meetups is a very, is a, being able to be at the top meetings where you can understand the biggest problems that the industry is facing and how they are trying to solve it. This is very, very interesting.
Yep.
Awesome. So we're still talking about how to add value, and I want to ask you a further question on this. Um, to the people who are listening, what free resources and courses uh, do you offer to the data science and AI community? How do you come up with those courses? And yeah, like, why do you think it's important to make these resources available? What is your approach to sharing resources, and maybe would you have some resources to share?
Yeah, sure. So a lot of resources that I share on my LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook. I also have a Telegram. I post a lot about there as well on my Slack channel. So
Mm-hmm.
the idea is, when we're talking about the free resources, I have a lot of free resources that a lot of the Ravit Show partners kind of offer. They kind of come to me and they're like, okay, we do have a few courses that can, obviously it might help them to market what they are doing, but at the same
Yeah.
time I feel is, if it's helping my community to even take one free course out of what they're doing, that's
Yeah.
okay. They can still make a choice after taking that course if they are comfortable to go for a paid subscription, which can
Yeah.
help them. Sometimes it's an affiliate for me, sometimes it's not. I totally work on a way where, in a way where it's helpful for the community.
Yeah.
There are a lot of courses which is 365 data science courses, Udemy, Coursera. They offer a lot of courses. So even by visiting their website, or you can visit my website, which is the www.theravitshow.com, you can learn a lot. You can also find some of the paid courses there, which companies do not put out free. But if it helps them to upskill in their career, I always put it out there. A very important thing that I also tell community is, the data science and AI community, when it comes to learning, first of all, don't limit yourself. If you feel you're comfortable with courses, go with that. So a lot of folks that I've come across, they're comfortable with the video learning in terms of step by step, and sometimes the courses don't have that depth, but a series of videos created on YouTube by certain creators have that depth. So
Mm.
I always suggest, if you find that depth in YouTube and if it's for free, go for it.
Yeah.
Who's stopping you? YouTube is like I've seen, to be honest, I've seen data analysts, data scientists making so much money out of just studying from YouTube and following certain creators, and they have been very disciplined in obviously following them and then applying it in their projects, and
Yeah.
then going out in a job and making the most of it. And now they make 150K, 200K, maybe 500K, a few of them. So that
Yeah.
type of obviously mindset you should have when you're taking a course, when you're going for free resources. Sometimes free resources come out as wrong, where it looks salesy, or it looks like, oh, since it's free it doesn't have that much value. But I feel that it's still a way for you to make a decision about, or get started with something, and understand where you're sitting in and what type of understanding you have about that area. And if it kind of suits you, you can go for the paid one. If you already have, if you feel that, oh, I'm not comfortable with courses, I want to try something new, YouTube is your place. You can go there as well. But basically it helps
Mm.
the community, the data science professionals, to bridge that gap through
Yeah.
these free resources, and it helps them in their career. It makes me happy if someone tells me that, oh, I got a job because you suggested these resources and it pretty much worked for me. I also put out newsletters which has uh, you know uh, informative uh, I would say informative. Okay, I do put out newsletters which are about a lot of courses,
Mm-hmm.
but also informative pieces about how the data science space is moving, what's trending, what's helping other professionals to grow in this space. So I do share those types of stories as well. I try to write those stories as much as I can to
Mm-hmm.
motivate people to be consistent in this space,
Yeah.
to make the most, because sometimes it's like people do give up very soon,
Yeah.
whereas they have that capability that they can do wonders in this space. And I've seen those people as well who've given up, and then it's like, no, it's not working for us. We took 3 courses, we went out for 7 interviews, we still couldn't crack. What's the problem? Is it in us, or is it that the field is not for us? And then after taking 2 more interviews, after just consulting a bit with them, and after taking 2 more interviews, they got the job. They are now 2-3 years into it, and they're doing pretty well, and they're happy, and they've learned so much. Now they're experts. Some a few of them also have teams under them. So you never know, and this space can sometimes get overwhelming, but at the same time, if you kind of sit in tight, have that patience, you can do very well, I feel.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I feel like a strong key also to that is like having the right guidance and the right frame, like
Totally.
mindset. And like we're working on a specific free course
Hmm.
about like how to have the career plan, like understanding your why, and then understanding the
Wow.
importance of the network, personal branding. And it ends with the mentoring chapter. How do you find your mentors, and who are your mentors, and how do you reach out to people? So this is something we really want to put the light on at Let's Talk AI. But thanks a lot for sharing. And you already mentioned my next question, which is
Hmm.
exciting trends in the data science and AI
Yeah.
industry, and you do a lot on your newsletter. So would you have some like how do you see those trends shaping the future of the industry? Do you have some insights, keynotes about that?
Yeah, so I'll be very and there are many trending topics, but a few that I've heard very lately and I've been hearing a lot is are these few which I'll list. Is first one that I would go out with is data observability. I'm also coming up with a book. I'm working with 10 companies who are offering these tools, and they are contributing one chapter each around data observability. And it is basically ensuring that data is accurate, reliable, and trustworthy. Organizations can unlock the full potential of their data assets if they have that data observability in place, and also drive greater innovation and growth through data observability. So I feel this topic is super important. It also talks a lot around data quality, data reliability. So a lot of folks are writing this book, and we are also coming up with this data observability book. But it is something which is trending, and it will do amazingly. That's what I feel, and it will do amazingly well in the near future as well. The second one that I might talk about is, and I can be a little biased on the show as well, on your talk show, which is about semantic layer, where AtScale sits in, because it will in basically it will become increasingly important in providing a unified and
Mm,
consistent view of data for business intelligence and analytics application, and also enabling organization to make more informed decisions and develop more effective strategies for
mm-hmm,
growth and development. So this can help organizations stay competitive and in an increasingly, say, the data driven world. So semantic layer will play a very important role. The third one that I kind of also feel is important is data ops. It is again increasingly important in ensuring the efficient and effective management of data pipelines and workflows, but also I feel it will enable organizations to make better use of their data assets and drive greater innovation and growth. So I feel data ops will play an interesting role, and this could also lead to significant improvements in areas such as data quality, data security, and data
Mm,
governance. So
mm-hmm.
data ops will play a very important role there. The fourth one is obviously generative AI, and we've all seen it, but still it will be faster. It will have increasingly important value in a wide range of industries,
Yeah.
from healthcare to entertainment to enabling that creation of new innovative products and services that are tailored to specific customer needs and preferences. That will come. It's already happening, but it will get much more deeper into it.
Mm-hmm.
This could lead to significant advancements also in areas such as personalized medicine, I would say, creative content generation and more. Like we've seen so much content generation that happens through chat gpt. We are already hearing so many cases where chat gpt is applied now, and people are, even if it's in the beta version, but people are trying to implement it and see how they can go forward. So
Hmm.
for now, I'll keep it short. These four are my top exciting trends that I feel: data observability, semantic layer, data ops, generative AI. But there are many more, and I would love to hear it from your community when the episode comes out. What do they feel about the exciting trends in the data science and AI industry?
You heard it, guys. Please let us know. Let
Yeah,
us know in the comments what are your thoughts, and we will do further episodes and try to capture everything there is from it. So, thanks a lot for this answer. I have one more question in general, and then two little questions at the end that we have people who are used to the show. We will already know these questions. Like how to reach out and a message that you have. But
yeah,
just before asking you about that, I'm thinking about the people who are listening. They might be at like finishing the studies or at the beginning of their career, or maybe their PhD, and they want to like have a better approach of how to make a good use of what they're doing, their research, and how to have a personal branding, how to grow, like everything that you share in this episode. I love every detail and how to approach things, and by following you, people can have more visibility on and more deeps on all these topics. So the last question is, for all these people who are listening, maybe they're managers, directors. I think the question is, what advice would you give to someone who is starting, or not necessarily starting? Well, what advice would you recommend for someone to improve their skills and make an impact in the industry? Yeah, so let me just reframe this
yeah.
question properly. What advice would you give to anyone in the field, whether they're starting or they're already a few years in their careers, to approach data science and improve their skills and impact the industry?
Yeah, Thomas, this is a very good question, because what I feel is in today's world, if you collaborate more, like in the data world, if you collaborate more, if you consume content from different places, if you decide to go on a creator journey, trust me, it will help you in every way possible to upskill you in your career. This could, because what happens is when you're talking about the going on a creator journey, it will help you open up a lot of network that is sitting out there. It will help you to create your own community. It will help you to create your own brand, just through going on one journey where you want to go out and post about what you're doing, or what you think about the space, or pick your niche very well. And if you feel there's a lot of interest in that niche, start talking about it. And my first, and I always tell this to a lot of people who are in this space, who want to be in this space, who have spent years and years in this space, are quiet about it. Just speak your mind out there on social platforms about what you're doing, how you're moving in the space. It can be about your personal project, it can be about your journey, it can be about the developments that you think will happen in the future, it can be about the developments that are happening right now, it can be about uh, a simple, I would say a simple case study that you have in mind, which is not related to your company or anyone
Mm-hmm.
anything, but something very generic. If
Mm-hmm.
you do all these things and if you put it out there, trust me, you can reach places. People are always hesitant to be honest about talking, and once they kind of start talking, I think there are a lot of things that will align, that will come their way, and they'll sharpen their skills, which will help them to create an impact in the industry. And I wouldn't say that with all these things you can always create an impact. It might be like everyone has a different journey, everyone has a different path altogether. So follow your path, feel, do what you're passionate about, and trust me, you will do wonders. And there'll be a lot of people to pull you down as well, but it happens everywhere, right? You need to go out there and do your thing, and uh, prove it to your community that you bring them that right value. And once you kind of start doing that, you'll never think about, you'll kind of start feeling it's your responsibility. And once you kind of start feeling that, you'll definitely be out there creating more content. You'll definitely be out there creating and opening a lot of opportunities for the folks that the community members. And yeah, just start with writing, or just start with any form of content creation. It could be video, it could be writing long form articles, Substack, and start putting your thoughts. People love to listen to authentic stuff, and if you're doing that, I think there's no way you can't build uh, build your skills, or I don't think that there's people won't be supporting you, or you won't be creating that impact. For sure you'll be creating a good impact in this space.
Awesome, thanks. So that was the last question. The two questions for the episodes are like, how can people reach out and maybe a
Yeah.
message. So before you answer the first one, I want to thank you again for coming on the show. It has been a pleasure to hear from your wisdom and your guidance, Ravit. So thanks a lot. And everyone who doesn't know the Ravit Show, let's give it a look on LinkedIn. I will put all the links in the description, but this is exactly my question. How can people reach out to you or know more about you? Where can they try to connect, learn from your stuff? Where where are you on the
Yeah.
on
So
internet?
LinkedIn is my main place. They can go out, reach out to me. Sometimes the invitation box kind of gets overwhelming. Feel free to put out a message with a request, and then it kind of easily reaches out to me. You can reach out to me at Ravit at the ravitshow.com, which is my email. I'm sure I'll get back to you. Feel free to let me know. You can also reach out and learn more about the content on www.theravitshow.com. It will take you to various social platforms that we are on. I'm on Slack, Telegram, the other places as well. So yeah, feel free to reach out. Don't hesitate. Any questions that you have, I'm happy to help.
Awesome. And last question, would you have a message for the Let's Talk AI community? It can be a personal, it can be a professional. If they had to stay with one thing, what would it be? What would be your message?
Oh, my message is very simple. What Thomas is doing, support him, because you learn a lot from this podcast, and he has the right, the right questions for the right guests, because that kind of brings a lot of insights to you guys. So follow him. He's doing a fantastic job, and yeah, love your community, LTAI. It's awesome.
Thanks, Ravit. That means a lot, and of course, I'm sure everyone is going to review because you have so much value out there. Thanks a
Exactly.
lot again for coming on the show, and I wish you to have a wonderful Sunday.